What's up, travellers? Welcome back to the channel. SJ Aviation HQ here. Welcome back to the channel today. Today we have the model review of the Qatar Airways A350-1000 released by Aviation400. For anything though, go ahead and leave a thumbs up below. Great indication of how much you enjoyed today's video and of course the content here on this channel. Come along and tune into more content like this, including the likes of model plane reviews, the unboxings, and of course the airport updates, and of course live streams coming up very soon on the channel. Go ahead and subscribe below and dim the bell icon to come along to tune into those videos, and of course to receive notifications as soon as they go out to you guys. So that'd be great. As I mentioned today, the model review of this Qatar Airways Airbus A350-1000 by Aviation400, my bad. This model here recently featured on the channel in an unboxing. Go ahead and check it out, top right corner right about now. But of course, before anything else in terms of showcasing the box, I'm going to read out some information about this airline for Qatar Airways. And there's some information about the particular airframe that we're looking at today. So founded on November the 22nd of 1993 and commencing operations on January the 20th of 1994, Qatar Airways is the flag carrier airline of Qatar. Headquartered in the Qatar Airways Tower in Doha, the airline operates to over 170 international destinations across 5 continents from its hub at Hamad International Airport, of course, in Doha. According to planespotters.net, Qatar Airways operates a fleet consisting of 237 aircraft, including 58 Airbus 350 XWBs, XWB standing for extra wide body. This is consisting of 34 of the A350-900s and 24 of the Airbus 350-1000. Qatar Airways was the launch customer airline of both variants of the Airbus A350 family, taking delivery of their first 350-900, which was registered as Alpha 7-Alpha Lima Alpha on December the 18th of 2014, and their first A350-1000, which was registered as Alpha 7-Alpha November Alpha on February 16th of 2018. Qatar Airways joined the One World Alliance on October the 30th of 2013 and has 2 A350s wearing the One World livery, those registered as Alpha 7-Alpha Lima Zulu as an A350-900 and an A350-1000 which is registered as Alpha 7-Alpha November Echo. I would have overlaid some images of those aircraft as reading out those registrations for you guys. So going into some information about this particular airframe for you guys. This aircraft's MSN number or manufacturer serial number is 350. This aircraft here is a 6-year-old Airbus A350-1000, particularly in a 1041, because 41 is the Airbus designated code for Airbus built aircraft that are equipped with Rolls-Royce engines. This aircraft performed its first flight on October the 15th of 2019, wherein the registration or test registration is Foxtrot Whiskey Zulu November, or if you're not familiar with the phonetic alphabet, there would have been F-WZNN. This aircraft here was built and produced in Toulouse, France, one of the 2 main plants that Airbus have in terms of factories where they build their aircraft. Of course, they do have the plant in Hamburg, Germany, which is mainly where their narrow bodies are currently being built in terms of the 321neo family. Particularly the XLR variant, that of course where Qantas was lucky enough to receive their first one. But of course I do have the plant in Toulouse. Of course this is where this airframe was built. That's where the wide bodies are built. 330neo family, 350 family. Of course Airbus do build their narrow bodies there as well. And a fun fact for those that didn't know this, but ATR also have the factory on the grounds in Toulouse, France as well. So nice to see that Airbus and ATR are sharing the grounds there. And to carry on, this aircraft is currently active on the network for Qatar Airways. We're in the registration of Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike, or A7-ANM. This aircraft was delivered to Qatar Airways on December the 7th of 2019, equipped with 2 Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-97 engines. This aircraft was ferried between Toulouse, France and Doha in Qatar on between December the 7th and 8th of 2019 on its delivery flight, and entered into service on December the 10th of 2019, just 2 days after it arrived into Doha. As I mentioned, this aircraft is equipped with the Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-97 engines. That of course is because the 1000 variant is equipped with the 97 engines. The 900 variant is equipped with the 84 variant of the Trent XWB engine. So very cool. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and showcase the box for you guys. Just like the Aviation400 release of the Austrian Airline 787-9, if you missed out on that, go ahead and check it out, top right corner. This box is very basic, pretty much identical to the JC Wings boxes. But anyway, here we have top left corner, we have the Airbus logo in the Airbus font, very nice. And we have where it says that this is an Airbus A350-1000 with the Aviation400 logo there, very cool. Here we have on the far right of this box, we have the Qatar Airways logo there, very nice. And then we have the very beautiful Qatar Airways 350-1000, very nice livery on this aircraft. Here we have the registration, Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike. And this aircraft here is a 1:1 scale die-cast aircraft, which it says just here. On the bottom panel we have the Qatar Airways logo just there. The scale of the aircraft in the bottom left. The aircraft spanning across the the panel there. Then we have the aircraft type, Airbus A350-1000. Registration, Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike. And of course the art number just there. Very nice. Here we have on this panel, we have the Qatar Airways logo just there. Very nice. On the top panel, it's identical to the opposite side, with all the details on it, looking very cool indeed. Then on this panel we have the very large text or logo type of the Airbus A350-1000. And on the back of the box we have the Qatar Airways logo in the middle there. Very cool. And then on the bottom we have the warning information in both Chinese Chinese language and English there. And this aircraft, and here we have the barcode and where the aircraft was made, and of course in China. Very nice releases by Aviation400 in recent times, of course, just like I mentioned in the Austrian review, or the review of the Austrian Dreamliner. We have recently had the Qatar Airways 777-300ER, which I'll firmly go ahead and get, because we did have the likes of more 340s. Lufthansa, I believe, was released, and of course Swiss as well. Very nice to see them as well. Cannot wait to see what Aviation400 comes out with in the future, and hopefully they come up with more oceanic aircraft, because they seem to be the brand that we can depend on down here. I mean, would be nice to see NG models, Gemini Jets, JC Wings, all the other brands, Panda models in general, you know, come out with more models from this part of the world where I'm located in New Zealand, and of course over in Australia as well. That would be nice to see more like Qantas, Jetstar, you know, Air New Zealand, you know, Texel Airways, you know, Team Global Express, just to name a few, Fiji Airways, Air Callan. You know, it would be nice to see some of those be released. But anyway, hope we're just model collectors. We just have to accept, you know, that, you know, there's not much demand down here, but we do live down here. Apologies for going on that little tangent there, but anyway, that's this portion of the video done for you guys. The showcasing of, or reading out of the airline, the aircraft, and the showcasing of the box. Let's go ahead and showcase the model. And here is the absolutely stunning Qatar Airways Airbus A350-1000 released by Aviation400. In this portion of the video, I'm going to showcase the model up close to the camera for you guys, showing you the impressive details on this aircraft, and of course giving you some insights about some of the components you can see on the aircraft. Let's go ahead and dive straight into the review of the model. First and foremost, zooming in to the model for you guys and getting the model up close. Now, how good is this model? Quite stunning, if I say so myself. Very nice. A very nice mold I must say, by Aviation400. The only thing I feel like they lack on is maybe the landing gear. I reckon that they could perhaps work on that. I'll get into detail about the landing gear as we look at them later on in the video. But anyway, here we have the front of the aircraft. A bit of interesting paintwork here going into the from the grey to the white. Haven't really noticed that before, but I mean, the fact that I'm looking at it at an up close view whilst recording this for you guys is quite noticeable. But I mean, does the job in terms of the model itself. But anyway, here we have the nose of the aircraft, and in the middle of the shot we can make out the nose cone. Underneath that, or inside the nose cone I should say, is a component called the weather radar. The purpose of the weather radar is to detect storms along the flight path of a flight, to give the pilots an indication of the rainfall ahead of them, of course that being the intensity of the rainfall and possibly the possibility of turbulence as well. This enables them to decide on whether they are to navigate around any of the dangerous airspace ahead of them in terms of the weather. Very cool indeed. Here in the middle of the shot we can make out the raccoon mask surrounding the cockpit windows. Raccoon mask, of course, I believe is there to deflect any of the heat away from the cockpit windows themselves, or the outside of the windows themselves. In the middle of the shot you can see that red outline just in the middle of the shot just there. Inside that is something called the static vent. Very nice. Here we have on the side here we can see some little knickknacks. Here we have the on the top we can see the pitot tubes there. Very nice indeed. The pitot tube is there to measure fluid flow velocity. Of course, in here as well we also have the AOA sensor. AOA sensor is there to offer a visual indication of the amount of lift the wings are generating at a given airspeed or angle of bank. And of course, at the bottom we can see the icing detector that of course is there to detect storms. That is there to detect the icy conditions, to let the captains or the crew know whether they are to automate any of the systems on board that fight against the icy conditions. Very cool indeed. Here we have in the middle of the shot we can make out the nose gear with of course November Mike or NM on the nose gear door. That of course is the last two digits of the registration, Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike. This of course is a magnetic nose gear, which we'll have a look later on in the video. Here we have in the middle of the shot we can make out the Lima 1 boarding door here, or L1 boarding door. Here we have in the middle of the shot we can make out the One World logo there. Very nice. Moving down we can see the very large Qatar logo or typeface there, of course spanning across the entirety between the L1 and L2 boarding doors. Of course the L2 boarding door right here is the second of the two boarding doors on this aircraft. One of my favourite angles or things about the Aviation400 molds is of course the uses of the 3D jewel to represent the beacon light. Very nice indeed. I do like how, especially when the models are sitting at an airport during the dark conditions and the light shining on them, it looks like they're flashing. Very nice indeed. Of course, here we have little satcom here, another one at the rear of the aircraft, which we'll see later on in the video. Here we have the first antenna on top of the fuselage, and on the bottom we can make out another one just there. Here in the middle of the shot is something called the pitot system that is used to determine an aircraft's airspeed, Mach number, altitude trend, also the vertical speed and the climb rate. So very cool indeed. Here in the middle of the shot here we can see the wing light or the landing light. This of course is used during the event of flight, of course on an active runway, whether the aircraft is just departing the airfield, and of course landing into the airfield, and of course within 0 and 10,000 feet when airborne. So very nice indeed. Right here underneath the A, the second A of Qatar there, we can see the wing light. That of course is used to light up the leading edge of the wing, and of course the engine during low light conditions and of course night operations. Here we have this side's Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-97 engine, of course 97 engines being on the 1000 variant, opposed to the 84 variant being on the 900 variant of the 350-900. Very cool. Here we have the leading edge of the wing here, looking rather nice indeed. Very cool details on this wing. And then we get to this part here, showing the strobe lights and the red navigation light. Now in the event of flight, once this aircraft has either entered a runway, an active runway, or has just exited a active runway, or is in flight airborne as well, these strobe lights would flash twice in sequence. If this was a Boeing, like a 787, 777, 737 MAX, etc., these strobe lights would flash once in sequence. And here we have the sharklet here. This of course is the first generation of the sharklet. Of course I talked about the first, second and third generation of sharklets in the review I did of the Singapore Airlines 350 ULR, that of course was on the channel in recent times. Did miss out on that, check it out, top right corner right about now. But of course this is what the exterior or the outside of the sharklet looks like. On the inside it looks like this, of course with the logo of Qatar Airways on the interior. Very nice. And of course here is the trailing edge of the wing here, looking rather nice indeed. Of course the spoilers, the flaps, and of course the aileron. Very nice indeed. Here we have the second of the antennas on top of the fuselage just there. Very nice indeed, just there. Just making sure it focuses for you guys. Here we have the Lima 3 door. This of course is not a boarding door, mainly used during the event of emergencies. Moving down the aircraft, here we have the SATCOM on top of the fuselage here. This is what provides the IFE entertainment on board the aircraft. Of course seen behind each of the seats. Very nice. And of course on the top of the fuselage we can see the last of the antennas. On the top of the cabin windows we can see the flag of Qatar. Very cool. And on the bottom we can see the registration, Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike. And then here we have a baggage compartment just there, for a cargo compartment. Here we have the Lima 4 door, can be used as a door for embarking the aircraft or disembarking the aircraft, of course via the apron, leading you to those stairs via the air stairs. By the air stairs, and of course to those buses that are waiting on the apron or nearby to take you to the terminal. Very nice. Here is the tail fin of this aircraft. In my opinion, I feel like the top of the tail fin is a little bit too rounded for an A350, but it does the job nicely. Here we have the logo of Qatar Airways. I believe this is an oryx or a type of antelope. Very nice. I see this quite a lot in New Zealand with in Auckland services on the 777. This particular aircraft is doing the Doha SJU service, or replicating the Doha Auckland service, I should say, Qatar 920 and 921, currently operated by the 777-200 LR, has been operated by the 1000 variants of the 350, so that's why I'm using it. Anyway, moving along, here we have the elevators here. On both of them we can make out that small grey dot just there, and of course there as well. They are known as logo lights, that of course is to used during night operation and of course low light conditions, to light up the tail fin, of course for identification to anyone who is nearby the aircraft, whether that is the air crew on other aircraft, and of course the ground crew that are about to be servicing the aircraft. and of course anyone who is in the control tower at the given airport where this aircraft is, of course identification to know who the airline is. Of course in this case, of course, it would be Qatar Airways. Can be used as, you know, a marketing tool for anyone who is within the terminal, and of course the outside the perimeter of the airfield, whether it is plane spotters or the general public, to give them the sense of wanting to fly the airline. Here at the tip or the very end of the fuselage here, we have the APU exhaust. This of course is the auxiliary power unit. That's what APU stands for. That of course is an additional turbine or engine on board the aircraft in between the two elevators, which we'll see the entranceway to on the belly. That of course is there to provide power to the systems on board the aircraft, to, you know, when the aircraft is on the ground, you know, stationary on the ground when the engines are off, of course, and that of course helps the pilots to turn them on without manually doing so. And of course here on the side we can see the outline there of the APU inlet there. Very nice indeed. And now let's have a look at the opposite side of the aircraft, guys, of all the minor differences. On this side, on the top of the fuselage, we can just make out the cockpit emergency escape hatch. That of course is there to provide assistance for the pilots to escape the aircraft during an emergency. That of course if the cabin doors are unavailable to access. Here in the middle of the shot we can see the forward baggage compartment just there. Very nice. At the rear of the aircraft we can see the rear baggage compartment. Everything else is pretty much just flipped around. The only other differences really are the fact that the doors are on here are the R1, R2, R3 and R4. Of course the letter R is to abbreviate for the word right, as of course the right hand side of the aircraft, other side being the left hand side. That's why that's the L1, L2, etc. Here we have at the end of this wing we can see the green navigation light opposed to the red one seen on the other other one of the other side, other wing. And of course here is the number 2 engine of the Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-97 engine. Very nice indeed. Now let's have a look at the underside of the aircraft. Some nice details. Here we have the nose gear door. As you can probably see, they have A350-1000 on them. If I'm able to get it to focus there you go. Very nice. Here is the underside of the nose gear. Of course these are the magnetic gears. There in the middle of the shot is the magnet where this nose gear goes. Just plop it in like so. And there we go. Very cool. Moving down we can see some very nice details here, including the antenna there, as I showed you earlier. Here we have some air vents for you guys on either side of the letter Q, where those 5 dots are. Here we have the beacon light where the first A is on of Qatar. Very nice. Here we have the stand hole, and of course the outline of the landing gear door. That of course is where the landing gear go when the aircraft's gears are retracted, and of course that's where they drop down from when the gears are lowered. Very cool. As you can see, the landing gear here looking rather nice indeed. As you can see, they do roll and they do pivot quite a lot. Not too sure if they are meant to, but they do pop out just like the nose gear, like so. There's the magnet. Just put it in under the tab there, and just put it in like so. Here we have the underside of this engine here with some nice details of the underside of the wing. And here we have the other wing with the registration Alpha 7-Alpha November Mike on the bottom of it. Here we have the outline of where the ram air turbine would be located, or otherwise known as the RAT, a small wind turbine device that provides power to any of the systems on board the aircraft, including the engines during and the emergencies, of course, to enable the crew to maintain control of the aircraft. So very cool. And of course can be used during the event of testing the aircraft. Often seen so this aircraft here, this airframe would have been seen in Toulouse whilst testing the aircraft. The ram air turbine would have been on the lower side of the fuselage. Very cool. And just like I mentioned, here is the entryway to the APU, very nicely outlined by Aviation400 here. Very nice. Not too sure if I liked all of the marks on the fuselage where the paint would be. Don't think I'm a fan of that, but hopefully it's not too noticeable from too far away. Anyway, that would do it for today's video, guys. The review of this Qatar Airways A350-1000 released by Aviation400. Do hope you enjoyed what you came along and saw today. If you did, go ahead and leave a thumbs up below. Great indication of how much you enjoyed today's video and of course the content here on this channel. If you want to come along and tune into some more, go ahead and subscribe to the channel below. While you're there, ding the bell icon to come along to tune into more videos as soon as the videos go live onto the channel, and of course to receive the notifications when they do so. Comment below what your thoughts are from this video. Do you like this model? Have you flown Qatar Airways, the 350-1000 or the 350 in general for them? Let me know what your opinions are of this video, and of course leave some feedback in the comments below about what I can improve on in these videos. I'm hoping to record more of these model reviews coming very soon to get the content flowing for you guys, so do stick around and to support the journey of this channel by subscribing and dinging that bell icon as well. If you want to come along and scan the QR code you can see on the screen now, that will lead you straight to my Instagram page for Astra International Airport, the one place where I show all of the photos of my collection, the updates in terms of the news for my services for the model airport, and of course updates about my whereabouts on social media. The best place to go is the Instagram page. But of course, if you want to go ahead and view all of the links in one full place, go ahead and scan the QR code you can see on the screen now. It will lead you straight to my Linktree page with all of the links in one full place. Go ahead and check that out if you wish, if you can. If you don't have the means to scan any of those QR codes, there are links in the description below to lead you where you need to go for easier access. So thank you very much for coming along and tuning in today's video, guys. The model review of the Qatar Airways 350-1000 released by Aviation400. Again, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up below, subscribe, and of course ding the bell icon. If you like this video and want to see some more on this channel, on the end screen will be some options for you guys. On the left hand side will be my most recent video here on this channel. On the right hand side will be the full playlist of model reviews I've done so far here on the channel. In the middle will be where you can subscribe. But until next time, guys, fly safe, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.